remotely, unfortunately, but nevertheless, we gather together to commemorate all the victims of this tragedy and to try to draw what meaning we can from it. And so we'd like to begin our service with the reading by Avner Kovner on page 2 that Jan Sotis will read. Avner Kovner was a partisan, a Jewish partisan who fought the Nazis and was later instrumental in creating many of the institutions to remember the Holocaust in the state of Israel. Jan, page 2.
Good evening. Today on the 27th of Nisan, Holocaust Martyrs and Heroes Remembrance Day, we commune with the memory of the 6 million members of our nation who perished as tormented martyrs at the hand of the Nazis and their helpers. Of the communities and families of the House of Jacob that were destroyed and obliterated in a malevolent scheme to eradicate the name and civilization of Israel from under heaven, we remember with respectful awe the fortitude of our brethren who gave their lives for their people in sanctity and purity, the sublime valor of those quarantined in the ghettos, and of the fighters who rose and kindled the flame of rebellion to redeem their people's honor. The lofty, relentless struggle of the Jewish masses for their humanity and their Jewish civilization, and the righteous among the nations who saved Jews at the risk of their own lives.
Amen.
Amen.
We continue with the song Eli Eli, which you can find on page 13 or page 3, depending on whether you're looking at the PDF or the numbers. This was written by Hannah Senesh, a young Hungarian Jewish woman who had escaped from Europe and gone to what was then Palestine and was parachuted back into Hungary as to try to help the war effort, was captured and then executed by the Nazis. Eli, Eli.
Eli, Eli, Shalom Yigamer Achol Achaya Rishrush Shel Hamayim Baruch Hashamay Tefillah Adam Achol B'Hayam Rishrush Shel Hamayim Baruch Hashamay Tefillah
יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה, רק כאשר הם עצמם יפדו ואינם. יש אנשים שזיו זיכרון מאיר, כאשר הם עצמם אינה עוד בתוכנו. אורות אלו המבחיקים, חשבת הלילה, הם שמראים לאדם את הדרך. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We continue with Yizkor on page 4. I'd like to ask Dave Katz to please read that.
Let us remember our brothers and sisters, the homes in the cities and houses in the villages, the streets of the town that bustle like rivers, and the inn standing solitary on the way. The old man with his etched out features, the mother with her sweater, the girl with the plates and the children.
The thousands of Jewish communities with their families, the whole Jewish people that was brought to the slaughter on the soil of Europe by the German destroyer. The man who screamed out suddenly and died while screaming. The woman who clutched a baby to her breast and whose arms tumbled down. The baby whose fingers groped for her mother's nipple, which was blue and cold. The legs that sought refuge, and there was no escape. And those who clenched their hands into fists, the fists that gripped the steel that was the weapon of the vision, the despair and the revolt. And those with staunch hearts, and those with open eyes, and those who sacrificed themselves without being able to save others.
We shall remember the day in its noon, the sun that rose over the stake of blood, the skies that stood high and silent. We shall remember the mounds of ash beneath flowering parks. Let the living remember their dead, for behold, they are here before us. Behold their eyes cast around and about. So let us not rest. May our lives be worthy of their memory.
We continue on page 5. Everyone has a name, written by Zelda. I'd like to ask Danny Cutler to please read that.
Everyone has a name given to him by God and given to him by his parents. Everyone has a name given to him by his stature and the way he smiles, and given to him by his clothing. Everyone has a name given to him by the mountains and given to him by his walls. Everyone has a name given to him by the stars and given to him by his neighbors. Everyone has a name given to him by his sins and given to him by his longing. Everyone has a name given to him by his enemies and given to him by his love. Everyone has a name given to him by his holidays and given to him by his work. Everyone has a name given to him by the seasons and given to him by his blindness. Everyone has a name given to him by the sea and given to him by his death.
Amen. And then when we put together the service, we sent it to the Cantor and we said, is there anything missing? And he said, yes, one thing, and that is the partisan song. Of course, most Jews, and particularly those in Eastern Europe, spoke Yiddish as their native language. And so it's Zug nit kein Mol. My Yiddish is very weak, so please forgive me. Do not ever say, and this is the partisan song in Hebrew, Shir HaPartisanim, Cantor.
Sag nicht keinmal, als du gehst dem letzten Weg, als Kindern bleien auf verstellen neue Tag. Kommen wird doch unser Haus gibt es Stau, so wird Beut und unser Trott mir keinen da. Kommen wird doch unser Haus gibt es Stau, so wird Beut und unser Trott mir seinen da. Von grünem Palmenland bis weißem Land von Schnee. Wir kommen an mit unser Pein, mit unser Weh. Und wo gefallen ist dieser Spritz von unser Blut. Spritzen wird dort unser Gore, unser Mut. Und wo gefallen ist dieser Spritz von unser Blut. Spritzen wird dort unser Gore, unser Mut.
Never say that there is only death for you, though leaden skies may be concealing days of blue, because the hour we have hungered for is near. Beneath our tread the earth shall tremble, we are here. From lands so green with palms to lands all white with snow, we shall be coming with our anguish and our woe. And where a spurt of our blood fell on the earth, there our courage and our spirit have rebirth. We turn now to the El Malei Rachamim, the memorial prayer, as we remember all of those who were killed in the Holocaust and all of those who died as a result of acts of commission and omission during those years, 1941 to 1945, and more broadly, 1933 to 1945. El Malei Rachamim, the memorial prayer.
Malei Rachamim, Shokein Bamromim, Amitzei Menucha Nechona, Rachat Kanfei HaShekhinah, V'malor Kiddushim U'Torim, Zohar Harakia Masirim Et Nishmor Kol Acheinu B'nei Yisrael Anashim Nashim V'taf Shen Yishchatu V'shen Yisrafu V'shen Neheragu Kiddush Hashem Anav Rachamim Astirem B'seter Knafet Chal Olamim Bitzro Rachayim Et Nishmoteim Adonai hu nachalakom V'yanuchu v'shalom al mishpochem V'mor Amen.
Fully compassionate God on high, to our 6 million brothers and sisters murdered because they were Jews, grant clear and certain rest with you in the lofty heights of the sacred and pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of heaven. Source of mercy, forever enfold them in the embrace of your wings, secure their souls in eternity. Adonai, they are yours. They will rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. We turn to page 8 for the Kaddish Yom HaShoah. And you can see there that the normal mourner's Kaddish is interspersed with names of places where the Jews of Europe were murdered. Some of them are concentration camps, others extermination centers, others are just cities where there was a particularly large degree of slaughter and murder and deportation. We all can think in our minds of those who we may have known who were survivors of the Holocaust and are no longer with us, as well as those who were murdered or died during the Holocaust years. I'd like to remember Hilda Cohen, a neighbor in Waterbury, Connecticut. When I was in high school, I became friendly with the Cohens, and they'd have me over on Shabbat for lunch, usually. And this was a woman who, as a teenage girl of maybe 14 years old, was sent from a little town in a little village in Germany in the Rhineland area to one of the ghettos in Poland, where tens of thousands of Jews were crammed into a area the size of several city blocks, and there was really no food given. And so she watched her parents starve to death there, and eventually was sent to Auschwitz, where Her arm was engraved in a number. Because she was young and healthy, she was able to work, and miraculously was able to survive the war. And what amazed me was not only her good cooking, and her very upbeat personality, and the tremendous joy of life that she had, despite the horrors that she had witnessed for virtually the entirety of the Holocaust. She'd been there from the time the Nazis had come to power in 1933, all the way until the liberation of Auschwitz. And yet she was just very happy, and was able to transmit that love of life to her 3 daughters and to her grandchildren and to everybody she encountered. And she was one of the early ones to start talking about her experience in the Holocaust. And as that became more in demand, she began to speak more and more. And eventually, after her death, her husband came out with a small book of her experiences and her writings. But that's just one of the victims of the Holocaust. And we're specifically here to remember the 6 million who died during the Holocaust as primarily as well. And so please all join with me, alternating the Aramaic with the English as we join together in the Kaddish, Yom HaShoah, the Kaddish for the Holocaust Remembrance Day. Yitkadal, Auschwitz, V'yitkadash, Lodz, Shmei Rabbah, Ponar, Ba'alma Dibra Krute, Babiyar, V'yamlich Malchute, Majanek, B'chayechon B'yomechon Birkenau, Ub'chayit Kol Beit Yisrael Kovno, La'ala Bezman Kariv Janovsky, V'yemru. Amen. We join together. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'alam Ulamei Almaya. Yitbarach V'yishtabach Theresienstadt. V'yitbar V'yitraman Buchenwald. V'yitnaseh V'yitadar Treblinka. V'yithalal Vilna. Shmei de Kutsha Briachu, Bergen-Belsen. Leila Matheson. Min kol berchata v'shirata dacha, tush berchata v'nechemata Minsk, Yalma v'amra Warsaw, v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabba min Shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. And let us all say, Amen. Amen. We continue in the prayer for Yom HaShoah. I'd like to ask Andre Ivory to please read that.
Rabboni Shel Olam, Master of the Universe, on this most solemn of occasions, we open our hearts, minds, and souls to you. As we remember the 6 million, the 11 million, the indifference, and the evil, as we honor the heroes, the martyrs, the survivors, and the victims, we ask you to soothe our souls, to amplify our memories, to strengthen our resolve, and to hear our prayers. We ask for your presence in our midst, for healing, light, and love to soothe and ease our pain as we commemorate the horrors that were committed not long ago. Please, O Holy One, be gentle with our souls. We ask that you help us to forever remember the stories we hear. As tales of the atrocities are shared, as we re-encounter the unthinkable, we ask that these memories be strengthened and never fade, in the hope that those who remember the mistakes of the past will not repeat them. Please, O Holy One, amplify our ability to remember. We ask that you strengthen our will, that you help us to ensure that the world does not again see such monstrosities. We say never again, and we dedicate ourselves to this principle, to the idea that justice does not allow persecution, that genocide shall not be repeated, and that vigilance is the responsibility of freedom at all costs. Please, O Holy One, make manifest our resolve that these horrors remain but memories. We ask that you answer our prayers. We pray that the call of evil falls on deaf ears, that those who fight for freedom and justice always prevail, that those who need protection do not become victims. We pray that the lessons we learn from this darkest hour allow all humankind to better itself and to truly and nobly embody the idea that we are each made in your image. We pray for the souls of the millions and millions of victims of this brutality. We pray that we honor their lives and their memories by observing this day and by doing everything in our power and beyond to make sure that no such shadow again darkens our world. Above all, we pray for shalom, for wholeness and peace to be in our midst, now and forever. Please, O Holy One, answer our prayers and bring us a world devoid of hatred, filled instead with peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will, and may we all say together, Amen.
Amen. Amen. And on the next page, we have Blessed is the Match. Again, a poem written by the young Hungarian Jewess Hannah Senesh. I'd like to ask Erwin Snitz to please read that for all of us.
Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame. Blessed is the flame that burns in the heart's secret places. Blessed is the heart with strength to stop its beating for honor's sake. Blessed is the match consumed by kindling flame. Israel, born in pain and lives in peril, we pray for the wellness of her people and their land. May they dwell in safety and live in peace and friendship with their neighbors. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Let there be peace in your homes, safety within your borders. For the sake of my people, my friends, I pray you find peace. For the sake of the house of the Lord our God, I will seek your good.
Amen. And at this point, the yard site candles, which we have, and which were our project of the Men of Reform Judaism, as you can see here. And it is yellow, as is appropriate, and it has a little Jewish star with the German word Jude on it, which was, of course, required that all Jews put on their clothing, hearkening back to medieval persecution of Jews. And so at this point, without a blessing, please take a match or a lighter and light your memorial light as we pray for the souls of those who were murdered. Cantor.
Ani ma'amin, ani ma'amin, ani ma'amin, ani ma'amin. Emunah shelema, Mashiach. Al-pi she'itmamea, במכל זה אני מאמין. עם כל זה אבקרו בכל יום שיבוא. אני מאמין, אני מאמין, אני מאמין. אני מאמין.
We feel an obligation not only to remember those who have passed away, 6 million innocent people. We know many of their names, but we don't know all of their names. And we try as best we can to remember them. We also need to remember the event of the Holocaust in general. Recent polling has found that among adults in 7 European countries, this is from 2018, 1 out of every 20 persons had never heard of the Holocaust. And if you go into younger people, in France, for example, in ages 18 to 34, 1 in 5 had never heard of the Holocaust. 4 out of 10 Austrians said they only knew a tiny bit about it. And so there's a tremendous amount of ignorance, and that can lead to some terrible consequences. And so we commit ourselves to remembering Zachar, to remember the terrible events of those years and to try to learn from them. And so we conclude with the prayer, May the Memory, on page 12. May the memory of good people bless our days, bless our days, bless our days. Zecher tzaddik livracha, zecher tzaddik livracha. And let us all say one last time, Amen. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Cantor, and to all of our readers, Jan Sotos, Dave and Pam Katz, Denny Cutler, and Erwin Snitz, for your participation in this ceremony. May we never forget, and may we pledge to be witnesses and educators to the world. We will not leave the meeting open as per the attitude of the ceremony. We hope that we will see you soon. Friday night services are at the usual time. A reminder will be out about that later this week. This ceremony will be posted on our website for people to view later, as well as a copy of the Yom HaShoah ceremony guide. I thank you all for participating and being with us. And Yizkor, may we all remember. Thank you.